Engineer, the ship has taken damage in an asteroid field and as a result, several systems are in disrepair. First, please reboot the ship's power core.
So, when I was designing this,
Full power is now back online, but it seems one of the engines got disconnected from the grid. Check the damage and realign the nodes to bring power back to the
yeah,
engines.
okay.
The nodes are damaged and may take some fiddling with to
So,
get working.
this first section is called Act One. It's mostly a maintenance sort of area. As you quickly saw, the power core was meant to be sort of like sci-fi power engine thing. And then this here, the engine room, its main purpose, like when I was designing it, I was thinking about like making like a big, kind of imposing engine kind of thing. Um, to with the orange light, I really liked the orange light. I think it really helped what I was going for, kind of like a big imposing engine room. And then you have like this power grid puzzle that's supposed to be like connecting to the engine, and each of the power nodes comes out of the wall. Like it's like actually a part of the thing. When I was designing the Act One puzzles, the Act One puzzles are more complicated. They're the most complicated puzzles of the entire experience. Um, so as you can see here, I'm kind of like putting it together, and there's like kind of a few ways to do this.
Good work, engineer, but there seems to be an issue with the other engine. Head downstairs and search for a tool to fix it.
So that's what I was thinking for this engine room. It was like just kind of like a big imposing thing. I like the circles. Here the main maintenance room, I liked it being like kind of cramped, and here's the maintenance corridors. So again, going with that kind of dark, poorly lit, kind of cramped environment kind of feel. And here we can see the other engine, which is basically the same layout, with a different
It looks
catwalk.
like there is something wrong with the ammo feed for the turret. Go back downstairs and inspect
Yeah,
the
so
issue.
like this main area is kind of like a hub for Act One, and you go back down into the maintenance corridors. And here's like the ammo room for the turret. I kind of wanted it.
That seemed to fix
Yeah.
the issue, but the targeting computer is having trouble finding targets. Check the storage room for an extra part and swap it out in the computer.
A lot of the stuff down here is supposed to be like cramped and cluttered and like kind of messy and like hard to navigate. And so this is like the main turret thing, and it's kind of like designed.
The turret is now fully
The
functional.
turret interior.
However, there is still one more problem. I only have access to the maintenance part of the ship. Check the server room and make sure everything is plugged in right. Then I'll be able to have full control of the ship and assess
Now,
full
the server
damages.
room took a little bit to put together, mainly because of the cable puzzle. But I wanted like an in universe excuse for the cable puzzle. So the server room is very like all the rest of the Act One rooms are. It's like very small. It's very cramped. There's a lot going on, visually and mechanically. Like you're basically like almost tripping over all these like plugs. And it's very important to like kind of follow the cables and like figure out what goes where, and like, it's a lot of trial. Some of it's trial and error, and some of it's just kind of like following the cable, like kind of following the direction everything goes in. But so I'll be putting this puzzle together for a little bit here, figuring everything out. And a lot of it is straightforward, I think, but it's also like, a lot of it is like trying to like figure out what goes where. And I think I really accomplished the whole claustrophobic kind of like cramped. Like I've seen server rooms, and I wanted to kind of like replicate what that looks like, which is like wires and cables everywhere, and it's just like, it looks like a mess from the outside, but once you like start paying attention, you kind of see what's going on. See, and a lot of it's getting the plugs out of the way because you can like trip on them. See, now it's like once you figure out what you're doing, it doesn't look as like crazy. Yeah, I should try to avoid not like tripping over all the plugs as I'm trying to get stuff done.
Good
There we
work.
go.
I am now in full command of the ship. It looks like you've been left behind as I cannot detect
That's
any
a
other
horrible thing in
crewmates.
there.
Warning. It appears there's something wrong with the central heating unit in the residential area. Go to the maintenance tunnels under the central hallway to see if you can reconnect it before the
And
ship
see, those
freezes
hallways
over.
were kind of a light blue right now because they're supposed to be like frozen over, like with a lot of frost. And so then we start Act 2, which is a lot more brighter, it's a lot more open. The puzzles are a little simpler in this because I wanted to like kind of demonstrate that I can do simple puzzles too. Not everything has to go crazy off the walls. But here's we're kind of like hooking up kind of like a heating unit that's offline using the same puzzles.
The ship is now heating up, however it appears it was too late for the rest of the crew. There is still work to do however. The turret for this section is offline and the door to the turret room is locked. Search the crew quarters for a key card to unlock the door.
We'll get to see how much the Act 2 rooms vastly contrast from the Act 1 rooms, as you can see. So yeah, so now everything's bright white, the hallways are wider, everything is brightly lit now. We have 4 separate furnished bedrooms that are each, even though they kind of use the same parts, are uniquely put together, so each room looks different. And so that's what I wanted to go for. I wanted to make sure that each room kind of looked different, and felt different to be in. Oh yeah, a card panel that the key card goes to.
Now that the door is unlocked, reconnect the turret to the rest of the ship.
So here we have like the same layout for the turret. All the turrets use the same layout. The only difference is that the terminal puzzle is different. I just used a simple, a very simplified cable puzzle this time around. But just more to show that like yeah, I can make the cables like simpler.
Good work, engineer. There is still one more problem on this floor. I cannot access the door to the bridge. I've opened a maintenance hatch in the living space. Please check the connection.
And so now we get to see a little bit more of the resident areas. We have a kitchen in that room, and then this is like living room. And so this door would have been shut normally. And so we have a path of disconnected wires that you have to reattach to each other. Kind of get them to work. Yeah, so we're almost done here. And now Act 2 is shorter just because like the puzzles aren't as complex and there's not as many rooms. But again, I just wanted to focus more on like the difference and show I kind of showed the yeah.
The door is now open. There is one more issue with the ship. There's something wrong with the bridge controls. It must have been completely disconnected and depowered. Make sure it is powered and connected, and if it is not already, insert the captain core into the console, which will allow me to fully pilot the ship and get us to safety.
Yeah, I went with these like sleeker looks for Act 2 and 3, so they're not like messy and with a bunch of stuff all over the place like Act 1 is. So Act 3, I have all 3 puzzles put together into a single puzzle. We have to pick up an item. We got the redoing the connections, and there is a cable puzzle. And I kind of left this room a little bare just to fit the puzzle into it. But I still think it works for what I was going with. I wanted that big open window that the bridge has. Yeah, so like I just like this look, and I think it really played. I just like kind of again fit the spaceship motif that I was going with. And so here we're at the final cable puzzle. So I wanted something like all 4 cables go into like one unit. I couldn't fit it into the server room puzzle, but I did get it in here with this final one where you're plugging all the cables into a single computer. And so I'm kind of doing like each color at a time. Making sure. Yeah, to kind of talk a little bit more about what I was going for with this entire environment. I designed the whole spaceship in 2D first. I did a top-down 2D layout of the spaceship. Made sure each room was distinct from each other. Each room had a purpose for like an actual like for what a kind of ship like this would need. And then from there, I figured out like what kind of puzzle would go in each room, and that's how I generally designed the puzzles. So I designed the room first. Knowing what puzzle mechanics I had available to me, and then from there, put it together. So you can see a blue light appear on the console, kind of indicating like, hey, you need to go find the Captain Core. Pick that up. And there should be one final message from the AI once the core is in place.
Good work, engineer. Everything is in working order. We will be back to a safe station in no time.
That was my thinking behind this project. Thank you.